Coming up on WUFT's First at 5, the recount is on for Alachua County Sheriff election, what this could mean for the results of the race.
Plus, a $47 million grant for Gainesville Regional Utility, what plans the Authority Board has for the money. And Rafael makes landfall in Cuba as a Category 3 storm, how this hurricane has left people in the Caribbean nation in the dark.
First at 5, from the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications. You're watching WUFT News.
We could be just a few hours away from learning who will be the next leader of the Alachua County Sheriff's Office. Only a few hundred votes separate Sheriff Emory Gainey and his Democratic challenger Chad Scott. The Supervisor of Elections is preparing to do a recount as the race is too close to call. This is First at 5. I'm Kirsten Maselka.
And I'm Nick Diaz. Scott held a small lead on election night, less than 0.3% ahead of Gainey. WFT's Charlize Ramos is live at the Alachua County Supervisor of Elections office. Charlize, it's state law for a race to be recounted when it's as tight as this one.
The provisional votes for the sheriff candidates are starting to be counted just after 5:01, and checking the time right now, it could get started at any moment. Tuesday night revealed the tight race between sheriff candidate Chad Scott and incumbent Emory Gainey. The Supervisor of Elections office recorded a margin around 0.29% between Scott and Gainey. 395 votes makes the difference and comes down to who takes home the sheriff's badge. Florida law requires a machine recount when the margin is less than 0.5%. Director of Communications and Outreach Aaron Klein says it's important for votes to accurately reflect the winning candidate.
That's why they have these recount procedures, just to double check there weren't tiny little errors in the way the equipment was reading those ballots and to make sure everything was tallied correctly before we go ahead and certify the winner.
Yeah. Klein says his office wants voters to know that this is a transparent process and that the office will keep voters informed. Especially this is an important race that voters in Alachua County are concerned about. Tonight, about 300 provisional ballots will be reviewed by the canvassing board. We'll continue to keep you updated on this tight sheriff's race. For now, Charlize Ramos, WUFT News.
Today, President Biden addressed the nation after President-elect Trump's victory. The president pledged for a peaceful transfer of power, and he also extended an invitation to meet with Trump at the White House in the coming weeks. NBC's Alice Barr has details from Washington.
President Biden today stepping out of the White House he'll soon be moving out of, promising a peaceful transfer of power to the incoming Trump administration.
We accept the choice the country made. I've said many times, you can't love your country only when you win.
The president and president-elect spoke by phone Wednesday, planning an upcoming sit-down at the White House as the Trump transition team based at Mar-a-Lago starts weighing names for cabinet positions, from members of Congress to Trump insiders. President-elect Trump speaking to foreign leaders Wednesday, including Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Xi Jinping of China, while the world awaits potential policy shifts and the broad coalition of American voters that fueled a resounding Trump win and flipped the Senate red, looks for marked changes at home, especially on the economy.
America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate.
President Biden also praised his Vice President Kamala Harris as some point fingers at his delay in getting out of the race. Others blaming Democratic leadership more broadly. Vermont Senator and former presidential candidate Bernie Sanders writing, quote, "It should come as no great surprise that a Democratic Party which has abandoned working class people would find that the working class has abandoned them." Vice President Harris urging her supporters not to throw up their hands, but to roll up their sleeves.
This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged.
Pledges from both sides to forge a new way forward. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
President-elect Donald Trump told NBC News on Thursday that one of his first priorities upon taking office would be to make the border stronger and more powerful.
Hurricane Rafael has left Cuba in the dark. The powerful Category 3 storm knocked out the country's power grid. The storm made landfall last night, leaving littered trees and flooded roads in the country's capital. Many Cubans were left picking up the pieces from the storm with a sense of deja vu after a rocky few weeks in the Caribbean nation. In October, the island was impacted by island-wide blackouts stretching on for days, a product of the island's energy crisis. Floridians in the Keys also felt the power of this storm. You can see the waves crashing over the seawall at the southernmost point in Key West. The area went under a tropical storm warning as the storm passed through Cuba. Rafael is expected to keep weakening as it spins over open waters and heads towards northern Mexico. But the National Hurricane Center warned there is significant uncertainty in the storm's future track.
Take a look at our DOT camera. You'll want to look out for rain on the roads on your way home from work because it's been a nasty day so far. It's been cloudy skies out there, and we were just seeing some rain not long ago. And even though Hurricane Rafael is not making landfall in Florida, it has influenced our weather. WUFT forecaster Matthew Clark has been tracking Rafael, and he says a few showers are still possible this evening. Matthew?
Yeah, a storm of this magnitude, we're going to feel effects from it, even though it's a few hundred miles off the west coast of Florida now. I mean, it's still a strong Category 2 storm moving further west, but with the counterclockwise wind, you're bringing in a lot of moisture from the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico, which is why we've been seeing those summer-like dew points and a couple of showers. We did just have a shower move past here in Gainesville a couple minutes ago, but it has started to rain itself out. We could see about a 10 to 20% chance of rain as we head into the later part of tonight. Looking over our campus cam, it's just a dreary day out there right now. Temperature 81 degrees, and it's very humid outside right now. So looking off to the west, you can see that couple showers off to the west overlooking the O-Dome, and as we head into tonight, those rain chances are going to start to subside, but those temperatures aren't going to drop really for the most part. Going to be in the 70s still, overcast clouds, and it's going to be humid again.
GRU Authority is working on organizing their $47 million grant to help customers pay bills while also replacing electrical transformers and utility technology. This is the latest update after the monthly meeting that was held last night. The meeting was held to discuss cost-saving measures, federal funding for infrastructure updates, urgent repairs, and the recent Gainesville ballot referendum. GRU's chief financial officer discussed the utilities investment plan, which made the company $40 million in the last year. The board now oversees policy updates and cash management, previously handled by the City Commission. Current financial agreements and repairs will cost GRU to close to $10 million. The company hopes to reduce this amount and save more annually.
It's really a good deal. We're very excited about it, and we're going to be working through this contract negotiation.
The paperwork and negotiations are expected to be finalized within the next 120 days.
Florida voters showed up in record numbers for this year's election, with nearly 80% of the state turning out to vote. Nearly 11 million Floridians cast ballots in Tuesday's elections, with statewide turnout at 78.76%. That is the highest percentage since 1992. Statewide turnout was up from 77% during the 2020 presidential election and 75% in 2016. Turnout ranged from a high of 94.1% in Franklin County to a low of 62.7% in Hardy County.
When the voters trust in the process, they turn out. They turn out in record numbers, and once again, this election proves that.
Nearly half of all votes were cast at early voting sites across the state, with 5.4 million Floridians choosing that option. Just over 3 million people voted by mail, while 2.6 million ballots were cast on Election Day.
The Gainesville Police Department was involved in the arrest of an Indiana man charged with possession of child pornography. Over the summer, GPD looked into a local report of sextortion involving an 11-year-old child. Their investigation led them to 20-year-old Dakari Gaines in Clarksville, Indiana. Detectives worked with local Indiana police to get Gaines arrested. Investigators say he admitted to being the suspect in at least 15 cases of online child exploitation.
Florida Highway Patrol is looking for the driver of a hit and run that struck a 12-year-old. The child was hit by a white pickup truck while walking along the road Wednesday, but wasn't badly hurt. The collision was on County Road 467. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Florida Highway Patrol. Gainesville Fire Rescue responded to an accident with a person trapped at Southwest Williston Road and Southwest 35th Drive. 3 patients were taken to the hospital. 1 was seriously hurt. GFR reminds drivers to be cautious and obey traffic signals. Stay alert for emergency personnel on the scene and maintain a safe distance. If you encounter an accident, call emergency services and avoid distractions while driving.
Earlier today, news broke on the job status of Gators football head coach Billy Napier. WUFT's Ethan Eibe is live in the studio with the update.
Florida Athletics Director Scott Strickland released a statement today confirming that head football coach Billy Napier will remain in his position through the end of the season and into 2025. After what's been a shaky first 2 seasons with the program, this third year for Napier has been filled with discussions on the status of his job. The team has played arguably the hardest schedule in the country and has weathered recent injuries to key players, including quarterbacks Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway. The Gators sit at 4-4 with a road game at Texas this weekend. Later on in sports, I'll give you some more insight on Napier's tenure so far at Florida. Live in the studio, Ethan Eibe, WUFT Sports.
Coming up on First at 5, California's wildfires are raging on.
More on how the fires are impacting thousands of residents across the state with mandatory evacuation orders after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
The ongoing mountain fire in California's Ventura County is forcing thousands to evacuate their homes. More than 14,000 people were forced to flee as the fire spread closer to residential areas. This morning, a house near Santa Paula was fully engulfed in flames. Other industrial areas were also impacted. Numerous structures have already been burned, and power has been knocked out for nearly 70,000 customers. Some injuries have also been reported, and more than 14,000 acres were burned so far.
Our goal as law enforcement, much like fire, is preserving life and preserving structures. We have made over 14,000 contacts to evacuate people within the community. Please continue to stay out of the area unless you absolutely need to be here. Please stay away.
Officials say one of the big concerns is spot fires, as strong winds carry burning embers as much as 2 miles away. Windy conditions are expected to continue throughout the day today.
Coca-Cola is giving back to the Ocala community after opening its new 27,000 square foot distribution center. During Wednesday's ribbon-cutting ceremony, the company presented a $2,500 check to the Marion County Commission. The money will help fund the county's No Horsing Around campaign, which hopes to keep communities litter-free. Coca-Cola also pledged to fully fund a computer lab for the Ocala Boys and Girls Club.
Ocala Electric Utility is hosting its annual Customer Appreciation Day. The celebration is free and includes live entertainment, bucket truck rides, and free food. You can even score a voucher for up to $200 off your next city electric bill. You can celebrate with the company tonight at 5:30 at Citizens Circle. Gainesville debris pickup is on track after Hurricanes Helene and Milton. City officials say over 40,000 cubic yards of debris has been collected so far. Crews will complete the first pass this week and second pass of all streets next week. Residents should start going back to standard collection guidelines, but you can still get help if you have large debris. From November 18th to December 18th, you can call the Public Works Department to get it removed.
Hurricane Rafael is moving its way away from Florida's into the western Gulf of Mexico. There's an area behind it that has about a 20% chance. I'll have more after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Even though it's November, we're still tracking the tropics. Hurricane season doesn't officially end until November 30th, and we have Rafael off in the Gulf of Mexico, and at only a 20% chance of formation from this area near the Gulf, near the Caribbean over the next 7 days. Not too much of a concern right now. We're going to be focusing on Rafael as it moves its way further to the west into the Gulf of Mexico. Friday afternoon, still a Category 2 storm before it weakens dramatically into a tropical storm. And just look at, the National Hurricane Center has a lot of uncertainty of where it's going to go. However, we do know it's moving away from us, so this is good news. Now, I want to bring you to what is steering the storm. We have a high pressure system over Florida that's acting as a dome that's pushing this storm further to the west as that high pressure system stays overhead the low pressure system known as Rafael starts to move its way further into the west, into the Bay of Campeche. High pressure system stays overhead. Just a lot of moisture from that 20% chance that we were looking at, but nothing really forms. Now, because of Rafael being off the coast, it's bringing in a lot of moisture into our area. That's why we've been seeing those dew points really high, and those dew points 74 degrees. That's like summertime dew points. 74 pretty much across the most part of the state. 75 in Jacksonville. They're closer to the water. This is like sticky, muggy conditions outside right now. We did have a passing shower. Most of the showers have moved its way further north along I-10. As we head into tonight, those showers are going to stay along I-10's corridor. A couple clouds and overhead fog could be possible. Most of those strong showers near Tallahassee along I-10 as we head into Thursday night and into early Thursday morning. But you can see the cloud cover and the humidity is just going to stay pretty constant as we head into Friday and into tomorrow. Right now over our campus cam, pretty dreary outside right now. 81 feels like 84 just because of that humidity making us feel a little bit higher. more clouds overlooking our campus cam. Temperatures for the rest of North Florida, 83 in Ocala, 82 in the Villages, and 80 over in Stark. It is a warm and muggy afternoon right now. Those temperatures aren't going to drop too far. We're going to stay in the 70s as we head into overnight hours. Those temperatures and those cloud coverage is going to remain pretty much constant as we head into tomorrow as well. Those temperatures are going to stay in the 80s, not a lot of sunshine tomorrow as well. But as we head into the weekend, we are going to have a nicer weekend ahead. We do have some overhead cloud cover on Sunday, but your Saturday is going to be a nice day to go outside. 84 degrees is a high there and 83 on Sunday. So even though we have had a lot of rain this week, we are going to see a nicer week. Veterans Day is Monday, so some of us will have an extended weekend. Those temperatures are going to stay pretty constant, and we may have a slight cool down as we head late into next week. Thursday, see the low is 59.
Coming up in sports, the Gators are sticking with Billy Napier, what this means for the rest of the season and beyond. And we'll get you the latest from Gator women's basketball's game against Florida A&M, which tipped off at 5 p.m. at the O'Connell Center. We'll be back after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
I'm Ethan Eibe. It's time to talk sports. News broke earlier today that Florida Gators will stick with head coach Billy Napier through the 2025 season. Florida Athletic Director Scott Strickland made this clear in a statement released at 11 a.m., saying that he is, quote, confident that Billy will meet the challenges and opportunities ahead. Napier is 15-18 during his 3 seasons in Gainesville. It's been an up and down season for the 4-4 Gators, who play on the road against number 5 Texas on Saturday. With his newfound job security in his back pocket, this allows Napier to enjoy and prepare for the magnitude of this weekend.
It's why you play in this league. It's why you choose to coach in this league. As a competitor, I think I think each week there's some history, there's a challenge with each one of these matchups, and this one's special in that regard, right? First year in this league.
Kickoff for Saturday's game against the Longhorns is set for noon. Gator women's basketball's second game of the season is in progress against Florida A&M at the Stephen C. O'Connell Center. The Gators took down Florida Atlantic 82-54 on Monday to start the season on a high note. Florida saw double-digit point games from Jada Moore and Stephanie Ingram and will look to them for a boost against FAMU. The Gators are currently out in front of the Rattlers. Florida men's basketball is also in action tonight in their O-Dome season debut against Jacksonville University. Jesse Simmons is live inside the O'Connell Center ahead of the 7 p.m. tip-off. Jesse, how's the energy in there?
Now, it might be raining outside, but we're here inside the O-Dome as Gators women's basketball is making it rain on their own in hopes to let the men's basketball team get on their own road tonight. Coach Todd Golden's 21st ranked Gators are already battle-tested heading into tonight's home opener against the Jacksonville Dolphins. After overcoming a 13-point deficit, storming back to win 98-83 over the South Florida Bulls, Florida comes in with hot hands thanks to a mix of returning leadership and new added talent. The Gators' formula for success relies on speed and accuracy off the ball in transition, so they'll look to do damage with senior duo Will Richard and Walter Clayton, who combined for 54 points and 10 rebounds against the Bulls' zone defense in Game 1. They'll have their first true matchup tonight, facing the Finns' man-to-man coverage. With JU coming off a double-digit win in their first game against Trinity Baptist, the climb starts now for the Gators. First tip is set for 8 o'clock. I'm Jesse Simmons here in the O-Dome, WFT Sports.
Gators volleyball continues its late season push against the Auburn Tigers at home. Florida is 16-5 overall and 7-3 in SEC play, with 7 games left in the regular season. Mary Wise's squad has hit its stride lately, having won 5 straight matches on the strength of newcomers Kennedy Martin, Isabel Martin, and Alec Roth. Friday's match is set for 7 p.m. We've got a couple big high school football games in the area tonight, as well with a district championship on the line. The Eastside Rams travel to South Sumter for a crucial 3A District 5 matchup at 7 p.m. If the Rams prevail, it will be their 7th win in a row and give them their 3rd straight district championship. Williston faces Hardy tonight in a non-conference game to wrap up the regular season. That game also starts at 7. And finally, Thursday Night Football tonight features an AFC North battle between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Who do you guys got?
Yeah, Ethan, I'm sure it's going to be a really tight matchup, and I don't know who's going to win, but I'm sure Kirsten has got her team on the dock.
Well, of course. I'm born and raised in Maryland, got to support the Ravens, and I'll tell you right now, they're going to win. Matthew, can we get one last check on the weather?
Yes, we can. Although it may be cooler up in Baltimore, it's not as cool down here. We're seeing temperatures in the 80s still, not very fall-like. However, we could see a drop-off as we head into next week, but we have to get through a lot of 80s before we even get to next week. Some of us have an extended weekend on Monday for Veterans Day. Could be some clouds on Sunday, about a 10% chance of rain on our Sunday, but we're just looking forward to those fall weathers out there.
Thanks for joining us. We're back here tomorrow for another edition of First at 5.
Well, your North Central Florida news is always on at WUFT.org and on all our social media platforms. Have a good night.